Yeah, I mean, I'd say growing up in an immigrant household and me being an only child too, I kind of had to learn as I go, because there wasn't a lot. Everything was earned in a sense. Like you couldn't even, friends in a sense, right? Because growing up as an immigrant, you don't speak the language per se, right? So you're coming in and it's going to be hard to make friends to begin with. So I had to be really extroverted from the beginning. I had to be really outgoing. I had to, I played a lot of sports growing up. That was one way for me to make friends. And I think I made friends playing basketball before I ever really spoke English, in a fluent sense. So that helped growing up. But just, seeing my parents struggle, I never wanted to struggle personally. But I think we all kind of struggle for a living no matter what, right? And I think that kind of seeing my parents go through that, seeing my parents succeed though, that side of it and how much work it took, I think made me more patient. I always thought, by the time I'm 18, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And it doesn't always fall into place that way. Sometimes it takes a little bit more time, especially within our industry. It takes a lot to stand out. And I think it takes a lot of consistency. You can have a lot of talent. I believe, eventually if you got that, if you have the music and people believe in you and want to listen to what you have to say, you're going to grow as an artist. And I think you grow with your fan base. And I think a lot of that is consistency. And a lot of that is, I get discouraged. I think we all do, with different things. But I think, the moment you get discouraged, don't, go into hiding and maybe, not release something for all, but maybe, take that as an inspiration for a song or do something with it, try to collaborate more. Whatever it is, right? Get into production versus just songwriting. There's a lot that can be done. And I think ultimately the more consistent you are, the more good music that you can release, I think the bigger your fan base and the more people will want to listen to you. And again, that's my goal. My end game is to keep growing my fan base and to grow as an artist too and develop my sound. So it was definitely, for me, I got started writing really early on. I moved to the U.S. when I was 9, so I didn't speak any English. I moved in from Israel. So I picked up the language pretty quick, and I think what helped was music and poetry and starting to write and using different words, expanding my vocabulary. It wasn't until, the last year or so that I started getting into a little bit more of the production side of things, because I realized, as much as I love working with the producers that I do, sometimes I have ideas and concepts that I want to try to kind of run with. And it almost felt like it was holding me back a little bit because, I wanted to do both sides of it. So I started to really get into that. But writing's definitely, it's been my passion for a long time. And writing poetry kind of grew into writing song lyrics. And then, growing up listening to Eminem, Kanye West, huge Kanye West fan, huge Eminem fan, listening to Big Sean. I try to take a little bit from every region too, because, every region's got a different sound, down south, Childish Gambino. There's been different artists that have kind of contributed to, I think, my sound in a sense. As much as, we all, as artists, we all try to be original. I think we pick things up from other artists. It's just human nature. There's nothing you can do about it. You're going to hear something you like and you're going to emulate it in a sense. Again, you want to have your own style, your own lane. And I think, for me personally, I try to do that as much as I can because I think that helps you stand out. But ultimately, getting into those artists and listening to, what they put out over the years has kind of really made me, I think, as far as, lyrics go into the sound that I've gotten into over time. It's really interesting for me because initially I just try to make more lyrical music, more of that underground sound. And until, about maybe like a year or so ago, I figured, I need to be more versatile with my music. And versatility really has been key to kind of developing the sound that I have now. I was almost opposed to making songs that, would be played at a party because I was like, I wanted to mean something. I wanted to have the message. I wanted to, change people's lives. But in a sense, what I didn't realize is that sometimes a good party song can change people's lives, like, depending on where they're at in their lives. So I think that was a big thing for me to kind of let that whole, I need to have that underground sound. I need to be lyrical. I had to let that go and really make songs that I like that are positive. And again, they don't all have to be positive or party songs. I think versatility is the key. So I think a short way to answer your question would be me focusing more on being versatile as an artist. Yeah, I think the first CD I ever bought was the Marshall Mathers LP. So that was, maybe 01. It was I was little, yeah. And probably had language in it I had no business listening to. But I guess that's kind of the benefit of growing up in an immigrant household is my parents had no idea what was being said outside of maybe, you know, F-bombs here and there. So that's really the first album I remember buying myself, or, you know, my parents bought for me. And yeah, I think, you know, CDs as a whole, you know, it kind of went away by the time I was probably in early high school. But yeah, I think that's the first one I remember. I remember, you know, Graduation was another big one. I think The Glory is off that album. That's like one of my personal favorites of all time. It's my favorite Kanye West song for sure. DMX, I remember buying a DMX CD. Yeah, there were quite a few. And Tupac CDs was, I think, a little bit later on, but Tupac is another artist that, I mean, to this day I'll listen to. Just his music's definitely had an impact on my music, honestly.